Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in to another video on fixing up this small house. For those of you that are not familiar, I'm taking a 575 square foot house, renovating it and turning it into a rental property. I paid $11,700 some dollars, ish thereabouts, to buy it. That includes the closing costs, and then my plan is to probably at this point spend around $10,000, and that may sound like a whole lot to some people, and that's a whole lot of money to me, especially when you think of the whole thing, $20,000 tied up into something. But I bought this house cash, so I already had that money sitting around waiting for this type of thing. By buying the house, I didn't buy potato chips and eat them and then you got an empty bag. I have a house sitting there. That house could be sold, that house can be rented. That money was just basically turned into a house. It's tied up in the house. So many people do things like go buy cars and buy this and that and expensive, iPhones and so much stuff. And there's nothing, I'm not going to say there's anything wrong with that, but a lot of people do that stuff premature to when, they really should, financially speaking. They're influenced by what everyone else is doing. They see these fun things, but all that is someone else's marketing stuff working really good on you. And again, I don't fault anybody for doing it, because some people can do that stuff. They can go out and buy a Rolls Royce, and it's the same thing as me buying a stick of gum. So everything is relative to your situation, and I kind of compare that to this house too. I've gotten a lot of comments, good and bad about this house. Some people have said, you got ripped off. Well, they're wrong. I know the environment in my area. I know what you can do on rental. And the other thing too is even if you do pay a little bit too much for something, which in this case I didn't, even if you pay a little bit too much for something, if you're planning on renting it, you're going to get the money back. Sometimes getting the right property is more important than how much you pay for it. Now, I'm not saying you go and overpay for something big time, but even if I overpaid for this house, technically I wanted to pay no more than $8,000. I paid $11,700, so that's $9, $10, $11. I paid almost $3,000 more than I wanted to, but that equates out to 6 months rent. In my case, that's not that big of a deal, because I plan on renting this house for 40 years. And you can do the math if you want. This house will make about $6,000 a year, and that's at today's current rates. Rents will go up, this little street will improve, the house's value will go up. I can rent this house out for however long I want and sell it down the road. I'm self-employed, so I don't have any kind of a retirement built into my job. There's no 401ks, so this type of thing is a way for me to make income all along, but then build up these assets that I could sell down the road. So it's building a net worth, but that net worth is generating me income all along. And I don't know everything. I know very, very little compared to how much you can know with this stuff. Of course, there's other things that I could do that would make far more money than fooling around with a house that's going to make $500 before taxes every month. But it kind of fits my skill set, my interests, and just who I am, my personality. I really like working on this kind of stuff, even though I dread going each day. By the time I'm done with the day and when I'm laying in bed at night, I can't wait to get back the next morning. Usually when I wake up, I'm so tired, and the idea of showing back up to that house and getting as hot and dirty as you get while you're working on stuff is kind of rough, but it's like, someone running a marathon. Is it fun to run the marathon? No, but for whatever reason you want to do it. And that's what a house like this sort of is to me. It's a challenge. After you're all done with it, you can't believe you were able to do all the work, but it happened just one step at a time. That's how you get anything done, I think, is persistence and just sticking to something. Most people sort of have this well, if it doesn't occur by this date, I'm not going to do it anymore. Of course, there are limits you need to put on things. Sometimes you need to call it on certain things that aren't working, but most times you just stick to something, and it's mind-blowing what you can achieve. And that is not any kind of bragging. That's just meant as a motivator for people who are just sort of getting started out, or maybe had some hiccups and sort of need to get restarted, need that motivation. I have different people email me all the time. I had a comment the other day, people telling me they've started to save to buy their first house as a result of watching some of my videos. People have told me that they've quit their jobs and started making and selling furniture. I can't believe that I've had that influence. All I wanted to do was make some videos because I have fun fooling around with cameras, and woodworking and doing stuff that I do was just what I had that I thought someone may be interested in. So that's sort of why I got started in my channel. And then once people started asking me different questions about different things, getting specific, and how do you do this, how do you do that, or how are you able to live like you live to be able to even do these things, then I saw that there was value in it, and that's when I put my website together and started taking things a little bit more seriously. But in the end, I still just want to make whatever video I want to make, and they're just meant for whoever enjoys them. They're not meant for anyone else. I really don't mind either when people say negative comments. A lot of people will say negative comments to, or they try to. A lot of people try to call it constructive criticism, but they're just having fun at the keyboard. Recently had somebody telling me how terrible of a deal this is. He'll probably watch this video. I might just need to ban him from the channel. But made a lot of comments about how I got ripped off. Again, you don't need to defend me or anything like that. I don't mind when people say this. I don't take it personally. It's someone typing at the computer. What they're saying could be true, it could not be true, but it just doesn't really even matter, because you don't know the full context of a situation when you're watching someone's YouTube channel. You don't know who they are, where they are, how much money they have, what their goals are specifically, why they're doing it completely. Again, I just like doing this kind of stuff. It's fun. This is me going to work every day. I don't have to show up and make some other man rich. I'm slowly trying to make myself rich. And it may or may not happen, and I'm okay with it either way. I don't have some sort of expectations to the level of where if they don't happen, I'm going to feel like my life is ruined. In the end, again, my goal is to make money, but being the richest man in the graveyard is no real achievement. So that's way more ranting, or not ranting, more running my mouth than I was planning on doing in this video. I was supposed to show you a problem that just sort of popped up. But that type of stuff, as most of you can see, I'm kind of a talker. But if you don't like those types of videos, you just watch a different channel. There's plenty of people who their entire videos are time lapses with no talking, no explanation. It's just sort of a show and tell type thing, and that's a beautiful thing. But I kind of like to show things a little bit more detailed, or just basically film them whatever is appropriate for the project that I'm doing and how much time I have to devote towards filming it. In the end, I'm doing it for fun, so that's sort of the first thing is I make my videos the way I want to make them, and basically whoever enjoys them can just watch them. So let's go ahead and take a look at what we're talking about. We're at 7 minutes. That was way too much talking. This is what we're dealing with today. So today's video is just sort of supposed to be about what I do in a day as far as just showing up and how it kind of goes. Not so much specifically about this project, this step of the whole project, but that's what it's going to be about. We're here in the kitchen, so give you a little reference. There's the window where the cabinets were, living room, front door, and then the bathroom. You can also see that I've torn down the wall between the kitchen and the bathroom as well. Reason for doing all this is the flooring in the kitchen was really damaged from water. Around the sink, around the window, different areas, even under the tripod, there's a hole burned through the floor. All kinds of problems. So I went ahead and I started ripping the floor up. I'm going to rip the floor up in the entire side of the house and put down new subflooring. That sounds like an unexpected disaster, but the real difference is a little extra time and about an $8 difference in the type of OSB that I'll put down than what I was putting down. Although I might end up putting the 7/16 on top of the 3/4 just to get it up to the same level. But you're talking about $300 some worth of difference. And again, with a rental, you're going to make the money back. So it's not the biggest deal in the world, and you just have to accept that stuff's going to pop up like this. What this does do, though, is it gives me access to the crawl space. I can redo my plumbing. I can add insulation. I can, repair some framing if needed, all that kind of stuff. It basically exposes the underside of the house. I can do whatever I want and not have to do it on my back getting bitten by everything that's down there. So that's one thing you have to do, is manage your expectations and when you're working on houses, and don't get bummed out because you're going to have so much stuff pop up that's not in your plan. You almost have to go into this stuff just knowing that it's not going to go your way. You're gonna find all kinds of problems and have to deal with them. There's just no other way around it. You could, I guess, have just thrown down plywood over top this and not worried about it, but again, it would have made the plumbing so hard, the insulation either just not an option. You would have had to tunnel under there. It'd be bad. So I'm not too bummed out. I'm actually excited, and the being able to make all these videos too really tempers any problems that pop up. I'm able to just go, well, this will be another good video. People will enjoy seeing this issue and how I deal with it. So that's sort of my way to stay positive on this stuff. I've worked on 3 or 4 other houses where there was no filming whatsoever, and I'll admit, you just show up and it just gets so mundane and just never ending. But being able to make these videos and edit the videos and in general just have the footage, I don't care so much about hearing my own self talk, but it is kind of neat to, let me flip the camera around. It is kind of neat to be able to have these videos in the future, all the videos of me working on. It's kind of cool. It's just like home videos in a way, and I've said that before in past videos that I've edited as well. Taking pictures are so easy with phones and how many cameras exist now, but a lot of people I don't think take videos, and my parents did video when I was little, and it's real neat to be able to see that stuff, see what you did in the past. A picture is good, but a picture is a whole lot different, and video is a whole lot different than seeing what someone sounded like, seeing what someone looked like, how they moved, something they say. A photograph is a still image, and of course they're great and all, but video's got this little extra special thing, and I've always been attracted to it, I think, for that reason. I've always enjoyed the idea of making videos, and again, that's one of the reasons I got started making videos on YouTube. So far more talk than required. Please don't unsubscribe, or do if you have to. I'm going to go ahead and get to work. Let's see how it goes. Well, I've gotten to the end of today. Not as much actual physical progress took place, but progress took form in me kind of coming up with a plan. I've got all of the flooring ripped out. I'm down to the joists. I also met with a guy today that's going to help me do some work. It's just going to be an hourly helper that's going to do some stuff with me. Mainly, small tasks where my time would be better spent doing the other stuff, making decisions. I can come up with a list of things to do and let this fella just take care of those. So tomorrow's going to be first day of seeing if that works out. Hopefully it'll all work out good. I haven't in the past had really anyone work with me other than like my dad helping me do stuff, my wife helping me do stuff, and then I've had a couple tradesmen do things for me, but never as sort of like an hourly wage helper. So I'm real curious to see how that goes. I have on one occasion had someone that I rent a house to, a woman, helped me clean a house that I was getting ready. The first house I ever bought, she was helping me kind of clean windows and do things like that, and having her help me, paying her hourly, was a huge help to keep me from having to do those things. It was mainly cleaning though. So this is going to be slightly more skilled labor, but then some of it's just kind of grunt work, like piling up a bunch of stuff into a trailer. So with all of the floors gone in here, I was able to evaluate everything. I do want to maybe, get some of that dirt out of the way in there, scooped out and thrown outside. I'll get the fella to do that. All the nails need to be cut off the joist. He can do that with the Sawzall. It goes pretty quick. I did a test run to where I could throw some plywood down to be able to walk back and forth. I need to replace 5 of the joists closest. That's the most shallow corner of the crawl space. I'll go ahead and pan over there. Come back to me in a second. So all these joists over here, the first 5, so that's over to this one. So you got the first one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to replace all those because they're in kind of real bad condition where they go into the pockets on the wall. So I'll get those out of there, cut those out, and jam some new ones up in there. It'll be a little tricky to get new ones in there because of getting them to fit under the floor here, but that'll be all right. And then, let's see, let me spin around to the other side. Needs to be some joist replacement right. I think it's this one needs to be replaced. And then over here you can see this one that's all cut out for plumbing and it's halfway rotten. So that needs to be replaced. The floor also is kind of bouncy. Now a lot of that has to do with there's no flooring on it anymore. Once you put subflooring down on the joists, it stiffens them up. Another thing you can do is add bridging, and that's what these pieces are you see in between them. I'm going to go ahead and put 2x6 bridging in between all the way across, so that'll add some additional stiffness. The other task to do is going to be getting all the junk out from the crawl space. So I'm going to remove all that flex duct you see, all the old plumbing, all the old wiring. So another thing I'm going to need to do tomorrow's going to be a very busy day, is I'm going to open up the electric panel and disconnect all the wiring to the house, and then just pull a couple receptacles out of that. Basically just make a few circuits just to plug extension cords into. So that's the kind of things I'm going to be doing, and sort of forming a plan from being here today. It was a lot of work. It's just one of those days that kind of sucks in reality, though. Just working on it, just basically you're just kind of causing more and more work for yourself. But that's all right. A lot of those things that I mentioned before will be much easier. So if I had my way tomorrow, I would have all the nails cut off, all the junk cleared out from the crawl space, including the plumbing and the electric. I would have the joist replaced, and the electric, I think I said that, removed. And you know, if I got that far, it wouldn't be that bad. Plus I'm going to have that guy doing some other stuff, cleaning up some stuff outside. I've got a bunch of debris that needs to be hauled off, so that needs to be loaded up into the trailer, and then when I leave, I'll take that to the landfill. He can also dig on some of that dirt. So, you know, really hope that this guy turns out good, because I need somebody. The guy will work for, you know, a fairly cheap amount, and we'll see, you know, how it goes. And I might end up paying him more than he wants if it goes well, because his hourly price is pretty inexpensive. I guess that's all. I'm trying to think. You know, I wanted today to sort of just be to show you what I'm really doing, and kind of the mindset of going through all this stuff. The tasks almost are kind of secondary to the video, just to show you that it's not always just, you know, a lot of these videos you watch people, everything looks so easy, but it's because it's being filmed and it's being presented by the person who's sort of, you know, in the video. So a lot of YouTube videos can make everything seem so easy, and that progress happens so quick, and a lot of my videos appear that way. But for every minute of video, it could be God knows how much time actually in between the steps that you see. You know, getting everything set up, going and getting materials, the sitting around with the dumb look on your face while you're thinking of what you need to do, all that. So I guess that's it. Hope you're enjoying these videos. If you do want to see more things sort of like this, where I kind of, where it's more talking and kind of saying things about the plan. I know that there's no real structure to this whole series. I'm kind of going to jump all over the place. Some people say I talk too much. You know, that's just my nature. And but at the same time, for those of you out there sort of more looking at this sort of like a, you know, a classroom setting, where you kind of want to learn about more stuff, about getting into fooling with houses, and really want a detailed look of how it goes, I think this is pretty representative, showing these types of videos. You know, a lot of stuff to do with real estate and houses on YouTube are these guys that look like they're 25 years old. They're running around in their mansions and Lamborghinis parked in the driveway, telling you how everybody can be a billionaire and stuff like that. And you know, probably, you know, that is true to an extent, but most people are going to have to go at it, you know, a fairly dirty way. You're going to look like this at the end of the day, at least for a certain amount of time, until you get a certain amount of momentum going. Then you can step up into something that isn't quite as labor intensive. But especially for all you young people out there, some people, you know, I'm 30 years old, people sort of in my age, younger, even a little older, you know, you need to use your time wisely, because you know, somebody recently said to me, you know, this is sort of where I'm at right now. I'm kind of climbing, and I told a person the other day, it's my dad, I told him that it seems like everything I do is getting easier and easier, and you wouldn't think it'd be that way. I kind of assumed that a lot of things would just get harder, and And he said, that's because you're on your upward climb right now. He says, then you'll peak. And eventually certain responsibilities, you'll have more responsibilities, and then that will kind of slow that kind of stuff down. And I'm kind of simplifying the whole thing. But that is what's going on right now. I was able to, the first house I got was really, really hard to fool with. I spent every dime I had to get it. I had to sell stuff to buy that house. And then it took me an entire year to fix that house up, because after I bought it, I had no money. So I had to do stuff to get enough money to even go back and do anything outside of just ripping stuff out of the house. And but then once I got that house, I knew more stuff. I didn't really have all that much more money, but I knew more. So then another house popped up, and I was able to get that house without actually spending all of my money. And then eventually I had both of those houses fixed and rented. And they weren't being rented for a lot, and they really weren't that successful at first because I wasn't all that good at finding tenants in the early days. I just assumed everybody else was as nice as I was. And long story short, those two houses made me getting my own personal house much easier. And then things just sort of start working out a little bit better, and you kind of all your stuff collectively is making things. My table started selling really good. And then I've got the YouTube channel here selling plans for woodworking, my book. So things kind of build. So you really do need to kind of stay on top of things and be persistent in what you're doing. I know this has nothing to do with houses, I guess, in particular, but it sort of has to do with everything you do. A lot of people are watching this kind of stuff because they want to do something, and a lot of them just have no idea, where to start. And that is one of the hardest things, is knowing where to start. And the truth is, usually there's no secret of how you're going to succeed in something. I think the best slogan in history is Nike's slogan, just saying, just do it. I think that is the best thing in the world, because even if you don't know how to do something, well, just do it anyway. Or at least pretend like you know what you're doing, and usually you'll get close enough. So that's my advice for this video, along with whatever else I said. I can't remember. This video is going to be an hour long. Thank you all for watching. Please share your ideas with me as far as solutions to this type of stuff. I'll probably already be beyond the point where your ideas might be able to be applied to this particular task I'm on now, but in the future houses, and other people would like to hear it as well. You can feel free to ask questions. I answer them to the best of my ability. Another thing to mention, I keep forgetting that in some of the other videos, is I have another channel. It's called The Homestead Craftsman. Most of you probably already know about that, but if you're new to this channel and you haven't seen the other one, that's more of like woodworking, furniture. I do some engraving, knife making, sort of whatever I want. It's all sort of based out of my basement shop. And there's some other videos on that channel as well. I do a series called The Homestead Craftsman on occasion, and it's just where I sit there and I talk about different ideas and videos I've done, different topics. Some of that's based on money, and show some of the other houses that I have, so you may be interested in that as well. I also have a website, thehomesteadcraftsman.com, and on the website I sell, these t-shirts. They're through a company that prints them and sends them to you direct. I also sell sets of woodworking plans for my farm tables, and that's basically what's made all of what you see possible. The majority of the costs in all this, I use the money from my farm tables to do everything. And then also have an ebook on there that sort of explains how I came up with that design. So you might not want to do that exact piece of furniture and sell it. You can if you want. I got the plans on there. But you can also read that book, and it might help you design a product that you can sell wherever your area is and what would best fit that market. So that's it. I really do appreciate all of you watching. This channel has been one that I haven't really put a lot towards, and just these past two videos, it really spiked the amount of people that are subscribing to the channel, and just the viewership in general. I think this is a channel that I haven't really done a lot with, only about 20 videos total. But just in the first 2 days, basically the first video and the second video, in 48 hours I got 14 or 15,000 some views. And for this channel, that's right many to get in that short amount of time. So that's kind of cool to see that picking up. I'd love to have both of the channels be of pretty good size and good following, and then I can kind of cater to certain people on one and others on the other one. So thank you all again, and I'll see you in the next video.